Well, James, here we are for another episode of You Got This Photography. We'd like to welcome you to this presentation today. We thought we'd take a few minutes. First say hello.
Hello.
Very good, thank you. He can speak, it's all right.
I can speak.
Okay, very good. We thought we would take a few minutes today and just let you see some of our work that we've done over the years, and so we can show you that, yeah, indeed, we are photographers. We're not just pretty faces, and we thought that you might enjoy seeing some of our work and see how we might have done that. So I'm going to start off first.
Okay.
This is a photo, and what I've got here today are three different shots that are wedding photos, and this first shot I'm showing you is of a bridal session at a local reception center, and this gal here just really wanted to look as classy and as stylish as she could. And so I've worked a lot with models over the years, and so I just kind of took her into a model styling. And so I gave her this pose on this fireplace and this little hearth, and said, okay, put your foot up here, let's put your bouquet over here. This was a very simple shot as far as lighting is concerned. Well, I've got simply a single speed light on an umbrella going, shooting across from the, let's see, so camera right, from our position here on the right side of the screen. Just a single strobe going across there to give her that illumination.
I think it's a gorgeous picture, and it really shows one of your strengths is your off-camera flash use, using your speed light. So if you're not familiar with the term speed light, it's typically the light we will put on top of our camera. So if we got our camera here, we put it on top, as opposed to our studio flashes or natural light.
Right.
So that's, I love seeing this. This really plays to that and allows to have some great contrast in there. You lit her up just perfectly, but it goes a little bit dark behind her, and
yeah,
I like it better than if you would have just flooded the whole situation.
Well, and that's what I like about off-camera flash is typically you put that flash on the camera,
yeah,
and it just blasts the whole front of the shot. There's no shadows. Everything is flattened out. There's no contrast of any kind.
And if there's a shadow, it's directly behind her and
yes,
an inch around her.
Correct. So the most flattering light for most subjects is going to be away from the camera, not on the camera, but off the camera. I really like this. It's a very simple approach. I think it's classy looking with that whole fireplace, yeah, and the shadows and her dress and the bouquet. I think she just really nailed that one. Yeah, really well.
Yeah, gorgeous picture.
Well, thank you very much. Okay, your turn.
This one was fun just because we're talking, and she's like, okay, we got all straightforward pictures that we knew are kind of the safe and they are good on their own. And now we took this one, and I just said, okay, play with your hair. Twist it up and play with your hair. And this has ended up being her favorite and other people's favorite out of that. When they see the set of the shots, this one gave it a playful edge. It gave it kind of a young edge, and helped pull out something more interesting than the safe shots.
Well, and that's why I really like this, because it has a real, and I'm not talking about the lighting here being natural, but a whole naturalness to the image. She is very real, and the fact that she's playing with her hair and she's just out here in the nature. It's just a very appealing photo because of the way it's just so playful and natural. So I really like that.
Okay. I used a 50mm lens, and I actually, at that time, I was going through this kick that I just wanted to give myself a challenge to where I didn't want to use a zoom. I wanted to use the 50mm, whether or not I wanted to open up the aperture wide or not. And I became the zoom, but that allowed me to really crank open to get the depth of field that we have in that picture.
A lot of people do that. They'll pick a lens and they will use it for a period of time and force themselves to do everything with that particular lens, which is not really a bad idea, because it helps you learn the strengths of each lens individually versus, and I use telephoto zooms, and to me it's very easy just to go in and out. But if you're forced to use a particular lens, in this case a fixed length, 50mm, you learn how to use that lens appropriately.
Yep.
And so that's cool. That's cool that you did that. So my next image that I selected was, again, from a bridal shoot. I really enjoy bridal shoots because, again, that is, to me, is the most creative of the bridal series. You know, you can shoot the wedding, and that's very much event-driven, and you can, you can do engagements, which means you're always fighting with the groom because he doesn't want to be there anyway. But with the bridals, the bride wants to be there. The bride wants to look the absolute best that she can.
Yeah.
And she's expecting you to make her that queen, that princess, that beautiful, beautiful bride. And that's what I enjoy about bridals, because you can then just take it up a few steps.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. With
So-
a wedding, you take what you're given almost.
Absolutely. You
With this,
do the
you
best
make
you
it.
can.
Yeah.
But it's event driven, so it's awful hard to always have that kind of control.
Yes.
Whereas in a bridal session, you have complete control with a willing subject.
Yeah.
I want to make that point very clear. It's a willing subject, because grooms typically are not willing.
Yep.
You've got your 5 photos, I'm out of here, you know. I just don't want to be around. So anyway, so this photo is shot at a local garden spot in our area, and this was in this little hidden garden. So you see this large door that's behind her. This is the doorway into this garden area, and it's just full of different varieties of flowers, tulips, all kinds of colors. Just a beautiful location, and I had the bride stand there at that door. And so at this point, I want to say, what do you think about this photo, James?
Okay. Well, once again, you've nailed the contrast in this too. It has just a very tight poppy feel to it. The dress pops out, which is the feature, and her skin tone is just really pretty with it, and but it's not your studio just stand in front of a white backdrop, and it really is separate from those images because you've got all the color and the tone in there. And it's not just one element with the texture. You've got the wood grain texture, you got some brick, you've got leaves, you got the flowers. So I feel like there's a lot going on in it, but I'm not distracted by it either. I feel like
Oh no, it all blends together
It all
quite
blends
well.
together, and it still allows her to be front and center as the subject.
So I really enjoy doing this. And again, this is also fairly simple, again, using a single off-camera speed light.
Oh, okay.
You can see it. She's looking up into the sky, and that's where the focus of the light is, right there on her face coming down. So I have the speed light on a stand of some kind, and I had an assistant with me this day, so that my assistant was holding the light much over her head. And so she's looking up into the light as it flashes.
Okay.
And you can see how it kind of drops off down through the dress. It gets a little darker at the base of the dress because the light is up on top,
Yeah.
looking down.
Yep, has a very natural vignette to it.
It does. Yeah, there's nothing in there that's edited to make it look like it's it's darker there. This is the way it was naturally lit.
Yeah.
And so one speed light makes it really, really simple, really, really easy. And what I like about this, again, going back to why I like bridals, is you go into a situation, you look at the options you have, and you then figure out what's the best way to make that photo come alive.
Yeah.
You know, in this case, let's have that door half open. I'll tell you, there's probably about 6 people behind the door waiting to get into the secret garden. And they haven't, are you done yet? Are you done yet? So I had to go kind of quick. But just very simple. And I love the elements that are in that also. So thank you. I appreciate the comments. And I enjoy, it's one of my favorite photo sessions, bridal sessions, is that right there.
So this particular shot, why don't you tell me your...
Okay.
Let's get your
I would love
feedback
to.
first, and then I'll kind of dig into what exactly is going on.
Okay, because I've done some rain photos before too, and I've tried it in real rain, which is not as easy, and I've done it with artificial rain, and I'm going to kind of guess that this is artificial rain.
This is artificial.
Okay,
yes.
because there's a lot of water coming down, and it's a very clean location, and you have control of your lights, and which means you had to control the water also. And those are fun shots. If you can, you can get into a controlled rain type thing. With the I've had hoses and sprinkler heads and all kinds of things working in rain. It's well lit. I love the definition on her body, how you see the muscle tone and you see the shadows and lines. The water is captured wonderfully. I mean, you know that she's in a snowstorm or she's in a big rainstorm because the water is caught really well. And you can tell from your shutter speed that there's enough slowness in your shutter to capture the motion of the rain. It's not frozen little drops of ice, if you will.
Yeah.
It's streaking water, which I love. I love. She's having a good time. She's playful with this. The smile is there. One little thing. Oh, you cut off a toe. Ouch!
Yep.
That's probably the saddest spot of that. But
that was actually going to be one of the things I planned on pointing out of the thing I hated the most about this. What you have to do with a shoot like this is I've got her lit well, but I've got a light that's behind, and that's why you get a little bit more on this side. Is it's off, just off of my plane of sight here, shooting in, and that's why her belly's lit up a little bit more too.
right. The light is coming across
behind.
across her to give it that definition.
But it allows it to light up the little raindrops. So when you're doing the powder shoots or the raindrops or the other things like that, you're lighting from behind. So if you're doing anything with smoke or fog, if you could light from behind too, so that
From behind the smoke,
Behind the
not
smoke.
behind yourself, but
Yes.
behind the smoke.
behind. Thank you for clarifying that. It's behind the smoke, the fog, the water, whatever
Right,
we're wanting to
right.
light up, and that really helps make it pop. So what do you got
All
for us
right.
now?
Okay, so my last of the three photos
Oh, I love this picture.
is this shot from a bridal session at the Salt Flats in Utah. So why don't you go ahead and kind of give it a once over.
So I love how you're lighting from a few different directions, so that we are getting the dress, we're getting the detail on the back of the dress, the straps and the bow and everything, which always is, like I've mentioned before, it's a feature in
Yeah.
bridal,
Yes,
obviously.
yes.
But then
Part of a bridal session is not just the pretty, beautiful bride, but it's the
Yep.
dress. You need to show off that dress.
But then the beautiful face and the flowers, which are obviously both very strong features as well.
But just to describe for you how this was kind of put together. You're right, James, there are two lights going on here. The sun really is not part of this, except for the colors in the background.
Yeah.
So we have a light off to camera left here, which is not in front of her. It's a little bit kind of almost directly parallel with her. So you get that highlight on her veil, and then down the edge of the dress, and again on the bow and on the lacing of the back of the dress. And then I have a second light over on the other side of her, on the camera right side, that is definitely in front of her,
Yeah.
shooting into her face in the bouquet, and then catching also the arm and the front of the dress. So she's definitely a 3D image
Yeah.
here in this image.
And I want to point out another reason why your arrangement choice was so good too, is just these shoulders. You're getting it enough to
Yes.
just show the gorgeous shoulders, but it's not taking away from the skin in the face and in the front. So I just love it. I can't say enough good about it. But so this particular shot, I had this this kick where I wanted to show seasons. So this particular shot was obviously my fall. How do you feel about this picture?
Okay, when I first saw this as we were planning this particular shoot, this one really caught my eye. I love the texture. I love the large red leaves around her that kind of frame her beautifully, and then they kind of fall off into a much more gritty texture of more dried leaves or different style of leaves. Yeah. So a lot more detail happening out there, but it becomes much more simple around her, which I like, because it helps her pop out of that area. I love the direction of light, again, so it's high enough to be able to go over the nose into the side of the face and to wrap around her arm over on the far right side. Her eyes, right at the camera, she's just talking to me. I love it. I just love it. You know, her expression there and her serenity in this color. So I think it's a wonderful photo. I think you nailed that one.
Yeah. The eyes. I was going very much kind of the goddess look. You know, and really just connecting with the audience. So that was intentional.
I really love on a shoot like this? Well, any kind of shoot, really. I really love that moment where you can, because they're digital photos, you can turn around, the camera to the model, to the bride, to whoever it is, and say, take a look. And just watch them go, wow. I love that moment when they give you that big wow.
Exactly.
So hopefully you enjoyed this little presentation of ours. We enjoyed it, and a chance to show off for you. We would ask again that you subscribe and hit that bell over there for notifications, and so you'll get an update as to when we post more videos for you. And we do intend to post a whole lot more videos.
Appreciate you watching, and you've got this.